Pay close attention to this video. A bride was tied up, and then she calls for her husband. She said her husband should hurry as they were late for their wedding. At this moment, a woman comes up to her and removes her blindfold, saying that she had spoiled her life, but the bride says that they didn't know each other. The woman says that before the bride came along, she was his favorite. The bride then says that she didn't know who that person was, but the woman says that she knew well who she was and that she had spoiled her life. At that moment, the bride realizes that she knew that girl and says that she should stop it. The woman then says that she would not stop with that, as she had waited a long time for this opportunity to finally get to destroy the bride's marriage. The bride then asks the woman not to do that and says that they were friends, but the woman says that she should stop saying those things, because she couldn't take hearing those lies anymore. The bride then asks if that was the reason the woman disappeared from their lives. She said she didn't know the woman was in love with her husband, but the woman said that wasn't true and that she didn't want to hear what the bride had to say anymore. She then starts yelling at the bride, telling her to stop those lies as she couldn't take it anymore. The bride then tells the woman to stop that, and if she stopped that they could still be friends again, but the woman says that she should stop those lies and that she would never be friends with the bride again. The bride says that she could help the woman with money, but the woman says that she doesn't need the money and that she already has enough. The bride says she would regret it, but the woman says it was the bride who would regret it. The woman says she said they were friends, but friends didn't do that kind of thing to them. The bride then says that she had never done any harm to the woman, but the woman disagrees and says that everything that had happened to her was the bride's fault. She says that since the bride had started to bond with the man, she had been very sad. She said that after that, her family abandoned her and she was fired from her job and that it was the fiancé's fault. The bride then says that they were always friends and that they planned everything together, but that the woman left and never came back. And now she was back on her wedding day. The woman then says that it's all the bride's fault and that she would make sure she didn't marry the man. She says they were best friends, they didn't do that kind of thing with each other, and that the bride had made her become the person she was at that moment. The bride then asks her friend not to do that, and then she starts to feel bad. She then said that she needed her medicine to be able to breathe. The woman then says that if she needed that, she would have to beg her to get medicine from her. The bride then proceeds to plead with the woman for her medicine, and then the woman hands the medicine over to her. The woman then says that she would never harm the bride, and then says that she had prepared another surprise for her. She says that she would get the woman's surprise and then leaves. The bride asks where the woman was going, but the woman does not say. The woman then returns with a cake and says that it was one of the gifts she had for the bride. She said that she had prepared another present that she would get for her. Later, the woman reveals that she had tied up the man as well. The bride then asks the woman not to do that and says that the man had nothing to do with that situation. The woman then says that the man would be very surprised when he wakes up, and then she goes to the cake and rubs the cake on the man's face. At that moment, she says that the man was already waking up and that makes her very happy. The man then wakes up and is surprised to see what was going on and asks his fiancée what was going on there. The bride then says that the woman had prepared all that and that she wanted them not to get married. The woman then asks the groom if he didn't recognize her, but the groom says he couldn't recognize her, as it had been many years since they last saw each other. He asks what was going on there, so the woman asks if he'd like to find out. He then asks why he was tied up, and she says he was tied up because she was the one who should have been wearing that wedding dress. The man then says that she was crazy and that she was gone a long time ago and that he couldn't understand why she was doing that. He then says that he couldn't understand why she was doing that, and she says that they would have gotten married if she hadn't introduced the bride to the man. He then said that he didn't know she was in love with him, but she said that she was very much in love with him. He then tells her that she needed help as she wasn't thinking straight and says that they could help her. The bride then says that they could help the woman. The bride then says that she couldn't understand why the woman is doing that and says that she and the man just wanted to get married and asks the woman to leave them alone. The woman then says that she was going to marry a man, but that she had screwed up and that the bride managed to marry him earlier. She then tells the man that they could get married and live happily together, but the man says that love doesn't work that way. He says that she would never get a person's love as long as she continued with those attitudes. The woman then says that she couldn't understand how the man was still defending his fiancée, since she had ruined her life. The bride then says that she had never spoiled the woman's life and that she would never harm her, but the woman says that she could not understand that she had spoiled her life. She said she hated the bride and wished she had never met the man. The bride then says that the woman should understand that she was going to marry a man and that there was never going to be anything she could do about it, but the woman said that she would not let that happen as she would do her best. Everything is not that this did not happen. The man then says that he was going to marry the woman and asks her to stop it. She is then very happy to hear what the man had said, and then he starts to say that she was a very attractive woman and that he could fall in love with her too. He says he didn't know she was in love with him and that if she let go of him, they could go somewhere else and live happily together ever after. At that moment, the bride manages to let go of the ties, and then, the woman continues to be very happy with what the man was saying. She says that she always dreamed of the day that the man was saying those things to her, and then the man says that he always dreamed of being able to fall in love with her. He then asks the woman to kiss him and says that they could live a happy life together. She is very happy with that and says that they would have very beautiful children. The man then says that that wasn't all and that he still had a surprise for her. She is then happy, but at this moment, the bride arrives saying that she was the surprise and punches the woman in the face. Later, the woman wakes up still disoriented and asks what was going on there. The bride then says that now the woman was able to understand what they had been through and that she could not understand how the woman believed that the man would still want to be with her. The woman then says that the man had deceived her and that she had believed that they could be together. The bride says that she wasn't going anywhere and that she was going to marry the man. The woman says that the bride knew that she loved the man and that she still decided to marry him and ruin her life, but the bride says that she didn't know any of that. She says that if she only knew, maybe things would be different. The woman then says that since she knows now, she could give up on the man and make things work out for her. The man then says that he would never fall in love with the woman as she was crazy and that she had done something unforgivable. The woman then said that the man had said that he loved her, but he said that he only said that so that she could be distracted and in the meantime, the bride could get them out of that situation. The woman then says that they couldn't do that to her and that they couldn't leave her like that, but the bride says that they knew that and they wouldn't leave her there. She then says that she had already summoned the police, but the woman asks her not to do that and says that she had regretted it. The bride then says that she would not leave the woman alone, because where she was going, she would have a lot of company and there could always be someone crazy just like her. The man then tells his bride that they should leave, as they have a wedding to perform. When they leave, the woman despairs and asks them not to leave her there and asks the man to come back. The man then says that he was happy, that the bride was fine, and then she says that all she wanted was to be able to be with the man. He then asks if she was sure about that and she says yes.